So this was an unscheduled live, and I just want to follow up on some of the things I've been posting on YouTube or on the community feed on my YouTube channel, like yesterday's post about Komodo not being a $9,000 camera. I want to make sure that I clarify some of that, and I'm going to just give this a minute. Let's see if some people join in, and if there is enough interest, I think what I'll do is I'll just like schedule a live, and then I'll post the link where anybody that has a different opinion or wants to share their opinion can actually come on board. Hey, Matt, thanks for joining, man. So, yeah, this was, again, absolutely not scheduled, but I did want to just kind of clarify some of what it is that I've been posting on the community feed so that you all don't think I'm just completely nuts and crazy. So it's been pretty good. So, Matt, where are you again in the world? Are you in Australia? I think that's, if I remember right, unless I'm totally wrong, which I can be. So let's give just a couple more minutes because, again, this wasn't scheduled. We'll give a couple more minutes, see if other people join. But I think my Komodo's not a $9,000 camera rubbed some people the wrong way. And I want to make sure that I clarify why I said what I said. Mr. Camera Junkie, thanks for stopping in, man. Really appreciate it. Oh, yeah, cool. So you are the Matt that I was thinking of. So that's awesome that you're in Australia. So, yeah, Matt's in the house. Mr. Camera Junkie's in the house. And, yeah, we got about 8 people watching right now. So, first off, thanks again for joining. For those of you who didn't catch the very beginning of the live stream, this unplanned live stream, I basically was saying I wanted to clarify a few things that I've been posting on the community post on my YouTube channel. And I'm going to start with Komodo. So yesterday I posted basically saying, it was a screenshot, by the way, that I took from one of the Komodo Facebook groups where someone is selling a brand new Komodo in San Diego, California, and they're basically asking for $9,000. And I've seen a lot of this happen. In fact, there are several people that are running Facebook groups for Komodo specifically that are actual brokers. So, you know, they essentially take somebody else's camera, they promote it, and they try to sell it, and they're building groups to try to make it easier for them, obviously, to make more money. There's nothing wrong with making money. I think that making money is important for every single one of us. How we do our hustle or our side hustle is how we make a living. So I'm not by any stretch saying that that's wrong for anyone to look at the supply, look at the demand, identify an opportunity, and then try to make a quick buck. I personally am not that type of person. I would never do that to a fellow filmmaker, a fellow content creator, a fellow YouTuber. I wouldn't do that to any of you, right? If I have a camera and I legitimately am not using it, don't need it, I would sell it either for what I paid for it or based on how many hours I put on it, some sort of loss. But for all of you who maybe haven't been around my channel for a long time, you all know that I don't buy gear on credit, right? So I buy what I need and I pay for it right away. And I begin to treat that piece of gear just like somebody else that's on my crew, where they need to earn their living to continue to stay part of the crew so that the company can stay healthy. And what that really means to me is that when I've made off of that piece of gear, I don't care if it's a lens, a microphone, or in this case, a camera, once I've made 2 times whatever I paid for that piece of gear, I consider that my break-even point. And when I've made 3.7 times what I paid for that piece of gear, I consider that profit. And from that point forward, it's all profit because I've recovered my investment. That's how I run my company. That's how I've always run my company. That's how I run all the other arms of my company. Like I have an arm that focuses on software development. That's how they're treated. I have another one that just focuses on marketing services. That's how they're treated. So for me, it's always been about understanding when my break-even point is, and then understanding when I finally have made a profit. So going back to the whole, would I sell my Komodo for $9,000 when I didn't pay $9,000 for it? The answer is I would never do that to you. And that's really where and what got me to post what I posted yesterday. And here's why I'm saying what it is that I am saying. Again, I think people need to make money any way that they can make money. But if you're one of those individuals that is on a Komodo waiting list and you're really hyped about the camera and you really think that that is the camera that is going to elevate your work, allow you to get higher paid work or work where someone views Red as, a higher tier than whatever it is that you were working on, and you're willing on extending yourself. And by that, I don't mean you don't have the cash. I mean, you're willing on saying, I will pay a premium for this camera body. Understand that once you get the camera, and once you understand the camera, and once you begin working with the camera, you're going to very quickly see that, one, you overpaid. Because Komodo is a good camera. Komodo is a good companion to my Monstro, for example. Very good companion. But Komodo by itself is not a $9,000 camera. It's not an $8,000 camera. Komodo is priced accordingly for what it is and what it offers and what their shortcomings are. An example of that is, let's say that we were shooting this scene, the scene that you all are seeing right now. If I was using Komodo, I would need to use more light in the background because on this side, like where the mic is and where the shadow begins to taper and those gradients, it instantly would become visible noise. And for someone like me, right, with dark eyes, even in this scene where I am exposed correctly, if you were to punch into my eyes on Komodo, you would begin to see noise, because that's just the way that Komodo sees light. Komodo is a light-thirsty camera. So in this same scene, shot on something like an FX3, an FX6, Sony a7S III, you don't have those issues. You also don't lose any sharpness, and you don't lose any color quality because it's a static scene. So you, or I think, me included, before I got Komodo, I'm thinking, okay, I've shot on Helium, I've shot on Gemini, I've shot on Monstro. I know what it is that I can expect out of Red. So Komodo is going to be on par. And what I'm here to tell you is that Komodo's not Monstro. Komodo's not even Helium. Komodo is a good in-between, I'm going to say, the Dragon, so Dragon X, and Gemini. But it is not a higher tier camera than that. So if you're like me and you're one of those, and I know I'm already starting to get thumbs down because that's going to irritate some people. But you know what? Before I go on giving my whole explanation, here's my challenge to everybody who disagrees with me. And if you're a Komodo owner, you're welcome to participate in the challenge. I'd like to find 3 creators, 3 DPs, 3 people that are owner-operators that own Komodo, that have Komodo, and have them in their own environment with their own crews, and however they want to do this, replicate a scene, and we'll all agree to whatever that scene is. A scene from, let's say, a horror movie, because horror is actually not that difficult to shoot, or a scene from a drama, and shoot it with your crew, with your gear, with your Komodo, and do the best that you possibly can to recreate that scene. And then we'll find 3 other DPs, and I'll be one of those other DPs, or I'll fill in wherever we have a gap, where we will recreate that exact same scene, but we will shoot it on a Sony a7S III, a Sony FX3, or an FX6, one of those 3 cameras. And then we'll put it all together and we'll let the community here on YouTube judge it. And then somebody can tell me how wrong I really am. If you are up for that challenge and you don't like what it is that I've been saying, please email me. My email, studio@mediaiq.com. If you're a little bit resourceful, you'll even find a phone number where you could text me that you want to enter. So that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm putting out there. I'm willing on putting my own skills on the line and say, I'll play either side. I'll shoot it on my Komodo or I'll shoot it on a Sony. But rather than just me showing you what it is that I can do, let's find some people that are passionate about the gear that they own, they're passionate about the gear that they chose to purchase, that think I'm somehow, maybe not accurately representing what Komodo is capable of doing. And then let's agree on a scene from any movie, as long as it was a movie that was not like a super indie movie, right? So something that had some budget behind it, so that we know that they didn't have any challenges with lighting or lensing or audio or anything, that they had the resources to make that happen. And let's try to recreate that on our own budgets with our own gear, and not just me, right? But have you all, as part of the community, do the same, and then we'll let the rest of the YouTube community actually judge it. And I'm okay with being wrong, by the way. Like, I don't have to be right. And that's really what I'm saying here. When I make comments about gear, like what I like, what I don't like, what I'm struggling with, what is working out really well, know that I'm generally talking about gear that I own, right? So I already purchased this gear. I don't have an interest in putting gear down for no reason. So like when you guys heard me talk about my Canon C70 and about some of my challenges with it, that's just, those are the facts, right? Like for me, and even if I'm being a baby about it, something like having mini XLRs on C70 adds too much cable because they don't make a cable that is short enough for me to use my AVX system, which I love to use because it's super convenient and it plugs straight into an XLR connector. Am I being too critical of the camera? Maybe, but that inconvenience adds time to me, and it also makes it so that I leave the camera on the shelf. And again, I'm talking about gear that I own, right? I'm talking about gear that I use on a daily basis. And I, fortunately, am back to shooting 6 days a week. Multiple projects a week with multiple clients every single week. So I am always working. And that this is probably why I find things that irritate me. And for me, as I said, like there was a guy that literally said to me, why don't you just sell Komodo and just go all out with just straight up Sony cameras? That's actually a really good idea, but I happen to think that the best camera on the planet, my opinion, is Red Monstro. I have a Red Monstro. If I need a B cam, I have to buy another Red Monstro, or I can use Komodo. And guess what? I'm choosing to use Komodo because I know how many Red commercial projects I shoot, and I'm not at the point where I can use 2 bodies. And that's a fact. And I'm totally transparent with you all about it. So that's really kind of where that whole Komodo thing happened, why I said what I said. And again, If anybody wants to participate, shoot me an email. Let's get this set up, run it with your crews, and then let's show the community what it is that we can do with the tools that we have chosen for our own arsenal. I think that that's a really good option for everybody. I'm going to check out some of these comments here, so bear with me. Let's see. Andrew, thanks for stopping by. Sorry you can't stick around. I appreciate it, though. Dork Productions, I'm guessing you were agreeing with me. Matt, awesome. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So let's see, C500 Mark II, only camera I need. And that's really what it boils down to, right? Like, if we understand what it is that we're shooting, if we're shooting things that are short-lived, so like anything for social media or maybe even broadcast commercials, because I'm finding that for like some of the national broadcast commercials that I'm shooting, they're changing every other month, which really means the content doesn't live very long. So anything that is short-lived, like, why do we need to shoot it in 8K? I mean, just my thoughts. But if somebody's paying for 8K productions, they're getting an 8K production. So yeah, Andrew, I don't know what the artifacts are. I'm guessing it's because I'm live streaming, and then also my air conditioner is going off, and I have both filters engaged on my microphone because I didn't want you all to hear the air conditioner. So I don't know. I guess we'll do what we can. Let's see. Would you buy an FX3 over a Komodo? Because I'm thinking of going this way and I can spend extra money on accessories. So if you don't need Komodo, I would buy an FX3. I would buy multiple FX3s. I'll put it to you guys this way. For any of my corporate work at this point, if I was shooting music videos, if I was shooting educational content, if I was doing house of worship type work, if I'm doing live event productions even, Komodo would not be the camera that I pick. If I was doing run and gun documentary, Komodo wouldn't be the camera that I pick. And the main reason for it is that with two cameras, so less than the price of a Komodo, so you could pick whatever brands you want, but essentially, if you have two cameras, you give yourself more options in the edit. You allow for maybe additional movement in your shots, to motivate the story. And overall, you speed up your production simply because you have multiple angles of that same identical take that was awesome. So Komodo would really slow you down if you can't afford multiple Komodos, or in this case, if you can't get your hands on multiple Komodos because of the way that it works, right? There just aren't enough cameras being put out by Red, likely because they get chips just like everybody else from Taiwan and from China and so on, and there is a global chip shortage. So I guess to answer your question, if I didn't absolutely need to pair up a camera with Monstro, then I generally pick a different brand for the majority of my projects. So that's what I would say there. And yeah, you'll be able to pick up a lot more accessories and maybe some accessories that are going to make a much, much, much bigger impact. Only thing is, we all know or hope every camera is different and needs to be treated that way. So that is true. If it needs more light, then light the shish up. Should know what you're buying. So that's true, right? You should know what it is that you're buying. I'm a big advocate of rent before you buy, because at least then you begin to have an understanding of what your actual investment is going to be. And I still would recommend that to every single person. I will say this. So this is where Komodo actually wins. Okay? So if I'm a red shooter, which I am, so I have Monstro on one side and I have Komodo on another side. Monstro requires a different set of supports, a different gimbal, a different tripod, a different video head because of the weight differences and the size differences and so on. So what Komodo really allows someone who is like deeply invested in the Red ecosystem to do is to shrink their footprint and remain working in workflows that they are accustomed to and they are okay with, right? So if I'm already on Monstro, I already have a light package that complements Monstro. So bringing Komodo in doesn't require that I reinvest in lights or add more light to my kit. And that's really what I'm saying here. So hopefully that meant something to some of you, but make no mistake, Komodo is a cinema camera, and a cinema camera requires crew, and it requires grip, and it requires, better audio, because I don't care what anybody says. Feeding audio straight into Komodo, unless it's coming out of something like a Mixpre 3 or 6, I wouldn't do it. So then there's that. Let's see. Louis, thanks for stopping by, man. I really appreciate it. So that's my rant on Komodo. Hopefully that made sense to some of you. Hopefully, if I pissed you off, you want to participate in the challenge. And then when I do a formal one of these that I announce and I actually can bring you into the chat, you can give your 2 cents. So, or into the live stream rather, you can put in your 2 cents. Second update that I want to give regarding, again, something that I posted on the community is that there's a project in Vancouver in May of 2022 where I need crew. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be covering an event live. There are multiple sessions. There are 90 sessions each, and they're going to be streamed live to everybody who registered for that event across the world in multiple platforms. So I've gotten several people that have shown their interest. In a perfect world for me, the individual already lives in Vancouver. I don't need your gear because we're going to be renting in gear so that everything matches across the entire production. But I do need someone who has experience operating a camera and monitoring sound at the very least. So if that's something that is of interest to you all, please email me. I'm still, I have to have like my A crew and then a redundancy in case something weird happens to be able to cover that event. But it happens in May, and my email address again is studio@mediaonq.com. So if you're interested, know that I have so far 2 people that are in Vancouver. Everyone else is out of Vancouver, which really means if I can't crew up in Vancouver, I'm going to be bringing some of you all with me from, hopefully, the closer you are to Vancouver, the better, or the closer you live towards, a hub where you can jump on an airplane without doing, multiple puddle hopper flights, the better. But that's still very much live. And yeah, if any of you are interested, let me know. Hey, James, thanks for stopping by, man. So those were the 2 updates. I think I'll read through these comments as they come up. And if there are passionate people, then I will do a more formal live stream where I schedule it and then people maybe can plan around it and give their 2 cents on why it is that they think Komodo is better. But again, just going back and recapping that, if you're a Komodo owner, and if you think that I overspoke in what I posted on the community yesterday, I invite you to participate in a Recreate a Scene challenge from a movie that had budget, where you would recreate that scene and obviously we would agree on whatever that scene is, with your own equipment, your own gear. You could be the operator, you could be the DP, whatever you want, as long as you use your Komodo. And if we could find 3 people on the Komodo side and 3 people on the Sony side to do the same, then let's share those results on YouTube, and let's let the community see what it is that we're able to create at our skill set with these tools. And then that way nobody needs to get their feelings hurt, because it's not just me saying, this is what I can get out of these cameras. It's you all participating and saying, Carlos, you need to step up your production or your skill set. And I'm cool with being wrong. So I invite anybody who wants to take me up on it to participate. And my email address, studio@mediaonq.com, and I'd be more than happy to begin to gather up that list, create a short list, and then announce it to everybody, set a start and end date, and then let's get shooting. I'm totally game. And what I'll do, in a perfect world, I won't be a camera operator and shooter, because I'll find 3 Komodo people and 3 Sony people, so that it isn't me showing what it is that I can do. But if I can't find 3 Komodo people, I'll use my Komodo and I'll be on the Komodo side. I'm happy doing that. And if I can't find 3 Sony people, which I happen to think I can, because the Sony people are like hungry, they're willing on doing this. The people that own Komodos, for whatever reason, they're not willing on stepping up, and I'm not sure why. I mean, like I said, I'll do it if I can't get the full 3 Komodo people. But I think that would be a really good and eye-opening challenge for all of us at the community, because that whole thing I used to say on my videos, when I would say it all the time, about how learning together we get to level up together, that's true. That's the way that the world works. You only learn from actual experience. And I think that is what has allowed all of us to continue to grow, right? So that's what I got. I have nothing else. So yeah, my email again, because you're asking, is carlos@mediaonq.com. So this is my website, mediaonq.com. So feel free to email me. Gabe, you're in Vancouver. So yeah, if you're interested in that project, Vancouver, Canada. Yeah, so it's in Canada. But if you're close and you're willing on participating on that project, I'd like to hear from you too. So yeah, very cool. I don't really have anything else, guys, and it's kind of late. I just wrapped a project and I've gotten multiple texts asking me if I'm going to make it for dinner tonight. So I should wrap it up, and let's catch up and let's just continue the conversation and comments, and hopefully we can make this work, and we can actually see what the community is creating instead of just talking about gear. And I know that we're all gearheads, and I'm guilty of it too, but let's just talk about what we create with the gear instead of just the gear. That's what I'm inviting everybody to do. So cool. I will catch up with you guys later, and thanks for joining. Really appreciate you all. Take care.